Good day everyone, my name is Vincent Aladad. I am the second reporter of Group A and this is my report.
Different modes of transportation. Mode of transport is a term used to distinguish between different ways of transportation or transporting people or goods. There are three basic modes of transport: by land, water, and air. Land has given scope for development of roadways and railways. Water and air has developed waterways and airways respectively. So basically, ang mode of transportation is ang way para mo transport og mga people or good. There are four major mode of transportation, namely the roadways, railways, waterways, and airways. First, let's go to the roadways. Road transportation or roadways, it is the most common mode of transportation. From walking to horses to wagons to bikes to cars to trucks, road transportation has been around longer than mode and utilized the most of any mode in logistics. It is the most versatile of the four main modes with the lead geographical constraints. Road transport makes it the preferred mode for smaller loads over short distance, and as such, road is the only mode that performs door-to-door deliveries. Here are some examples of road transportation: walking and using horses, trucks and cars, motorcycle and bicycles. Now let's discuss the advantage and disadvantage of road transportation. First advantage is the transportation by road is the only mode could give maximum service to one and all. Second is this mode has also maximum flexibility for travel with reference to route, direction, time, and speed of travel. Third is it is possible to provide door-to-door services. Only road transport can do that. So the next is the disadvantage. The disadvantage of road transport is motor transport is not as reliable as rail transport. During rainy or flood season, roads roads become unfit and unsafe for use. Second disadvantage is this mode of transport is unsuitable and costly for transporting cheap and bulky goods over long distance. Third is there are more chances of accidents and breakdowns in case of motor transport. Thus, motor transport is not as safe as rail transport. And for me siguro one of the disadvantage of road transport is the traffic, because as time goes by, dagan nag mga sakyanan and dagan na pug mga traffic lights, so naga-traffic na siya. Next, let's discuss the water transportation or waterways. Shipping by water has been practiced for thousands of years and remains pivotal to today's global trade. Cargo ships travel on almost every major body of water and have capacity to transport the highest volume of freight of any mode of transportation at the lowest cost. By far, maritime is the slowest mode of transportation. So in water transportation, it is used for transporting heavy goods to one country or to another country. And it is used because it has the lowest cost of transporting heavy goods to one other country at the lowest cost. So, mo ang ginagamit ang water transportation kay gamay lang man ang gasto. And gamay lang ang gasto pero dako na imong mga heavy goods na imong matransfer. Here are some examples of some vehicles that are used in water transport: the boats, the ships, the cruise, and etc. The advantage of water transportation or waterways it is the most efficient for the amount of cargo it is capable of carrying. So it is good for carrying heavy goods like what I said kanina. Next is maintenance cost in rail and road transport is quite high, but maintenance cost of water transport is quite less. It is quite less because kailangan lang nato i-maintenance dito is ang ship, ang cruise or ang vehicle natong gamiton sa pagtransport sa atong mga goods. Wala ato i-maintenance. Next is water transport plays important role in foreign trade. So it plays important role because sa una pa ginagamit atong ship or ang boats to transport goods from country to one another country. Like for example, for exporting cars and importing cars, ginagamit atong ship kay mura man ang ship lang man or ang waterways transportation lang man ang kaya mo karga og mga bugat na mga goods or things na gina-import nato. The disadvantage of water transportation is transporting by water is slowest among the four modes. So, siya ang pinakadugay sa upat ka modes. Then, the water transport is more risky as compared to other means because there is always danger of sinking ships or boats. So, if ang ships or boats na ginagamit for transporting the goods will sink, syempre katong mga goods na naa sa boat, di na to siya magamit. So, mao to siya ang mga disadvantage sa water transportation. Next, let's discuss the air transportation. It is the newest mode of transportation. Airplanes are becoming increasingly important in domestic and international trade. Air transportation is the fastest growing and most time efficient shipping mode. Air travel also provides more comfort apart from saving in transportation, time for the passengers and the goods between the airport. So, air transportation is the most time efficient shipping mode because siya man gud pod ang pinaka-fastest na mode of transportation, and also syempre sa air wala siya yung mga sagabal dito, so straight lang ang iyang biyahe. So here are some examples of vehicles that are used in air transportation. So in airplanes, helicopter, hot air balloons, and etc. So the advantage of air transportation or airways is it is the fastest among four modes. Siya ang pinakapaspas. Then during earthquake, flood, accidents, and famine, air transport is used for rescue operations. So ginagamit po siya for rescue operations, to transferring tao to another place or bagay to another place. So then air transport is free from physical barriers like river, mountains, and valleys, etc. So motong yun ganina, wala siya sa gabal tungod kay naman siya sa langit, wala siya sa gabal dito, no physical barriers. So mo to siyang advantage sa air transportation. The disadvantage of air transportation is it is costly service. Its operational costs are too high. Middle class and poor people cannot affect its cash. So mo na lang siya ang disadvantage. Isa sa disadvantage sa air transportation kay dili siya affordable sa tanan tao. So ang mga middle class or poor people cannot afford to ride an airplane. Then next is for creating aviation facilities, huge investments are required. Air transport is prone to accidents. A small mistake can be very dangerous for passengers. Hijacking of plane is easily possible. So mao to siya ang mga disadvantage sa air transportation. Next, lastly is the rail transportation or railways. Rail transport is also known as train transport. It is a means of transport on vehicles which run on tracks, rails, or railroads. It is one of the most important, commonly used, and very cost-effective modes of commuting and goods carriage over long as well as short distance. Trains are powered by an engine locomotive running on electricity or on diesel. Complex signaling systems are utilized if there are multiple route networks. Rail transport is also one of the fastest mode of land transport. Next slide. So here are a picture of trains, and train is the vehicle that is used in rail transport. Next slide. Let's talk about the advantage and disadvantage of rail transportation. First, the advantage of it is the rail transport is better organized than any other form of transport. It has a fixed route and schedule. Its service is more certain, uniform, and regular as compared to other modes of transport. So, the advantage of it is organized, and it has a fixed routes and schedule, and mas uniform siya kaysa sa uban na modes of transport. Next is the carrying capacity of railways is extremely large. Moreover, its capacity is elastic, which can easily be increased by adding more wagons. So basically, ang rail transport is dili siya problema sa mga pasahero niya kay because kung mapuno na ang isa ka wagon, mag-add lang siya another wagon or more wagons para dagan pa ang makasulod sa or dagan pa ang makasakay sa iya. Mo siyang one of the advantage sa rail transport. Next is it is the most dependable mode of transport as it is the least affected by weather condition such as rains, fogs, etc. compared to other modes of transport. So dili siya basta-basta maapektuhan sa mga weather condition such as rains, fogs kay basically naka fix naman ng yang routes good, so di na siya basta-basta ma-flooded, di na siya basta-basta maapektuhan sa ulan. So, the disadvantage of rail transport is rail transport is its inflexibility. Its routes and timing cannot be adjusted to individual requirements. So, di na siya adjustable and dili na siya basta-basta ma-change nimo kay naka-fix na mo dang yang routes and ang yang mga schedules niya. Di na nimo ma-change ang yang timing pod. Railway transport is unsuitable and uneconomical for short distance and small traffic of goods. Railway transport cannot provide door-to-door services as it is tied to particular track. So, di na nimo siya basta-basta door-to-door kay naka-set naman yung schedule or set na yung route to a particular track. So, di na ka pwede maka hunong-hunong or makaunsa okay. And dili siya good for short distance lang and small traffic of goods. Next slide. Pipeline transportation. Pipeline shipping is not a formal mode of transportation in the traditional sense. However, it is important to acknowledge for its importance in the current fossil fuel market. Although ang pipeline transportation is not one of the four major transportation, but it is important to acknowledge it because na siya part sa current fossil fuel market sa atua. Pipeline transport unrefined fossil fuels such as gas and oil from their point of origin to the point where they can then be transferred to that refineries or another mode of transportation. They can be built above ground, underground, or underwater, making them ideal for offshore drilling. Next slide. So here are a picture of pipelines. Next slide. So here are the advantage and disadvantage of pipeline transportation. So first, the advantage of it is safe, reliable, non-polluting, low cost, safe, reliable, non-polluting, low cost. Pipeline can take shortcuts, short distance transportation, can be close transport, less wear and tear. The disadvantage of it is the construction of pipelines, gas station, and oil storage device has to spend huge investment. In addition, the pipeline route through the asset dressing, unregulated traffic room, small transport elasticity, flexibility, is poor.
That is all about my report. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.